We also, and you need to know this, especially those of you in the diocesan organizations, it was really reiterated how much they appreciate how your offices, your diocesan offices, support, and you support the relationship between the LEA and your non-public principals, how you're there to lead and guide, but also you let them have the freedoms of that networking ability. And so that was very, very neat. Ms. Anna, you should be very proud of your group. They really got a thumbs up. Sister Carol, I thought I was going to give you the same thing, but we had to cancel Mosher due to the weather. So we'll be back. That's why. That's why. I'm coming back.
And bring Kenya with you.
I'm bringing Kenya with me. And Tommy.
I'm taking them to lunch. They need some.
Awesome. So other than that, all I can say is the tone was productive, and we're looking forward to a fantastic 23-24 school year. Now, you should have all received the handouts from the collaborative meetings. Were there several? Yes, they were. They're all important. Yes, they are. The Bossier Parish session was canceled, as I said, due to weather. We're just giving everybody a chance to kind of regroup up there, and then we will definitely have another session. We are going to reschedule that. And as a footnote, too, the new Equitable Services Update Guidance for Title VIII came out yesterday. When you get back, you will have it along with the updated guidance that you've already received from me, but I'll just send it again, from Title I related to private schools as well. You will be receiving that, and following that in the next few days will also be a synopsis of all the changes and where they are. Any questions, you know to email me, but we also are going to present this to the work group to see how can we be sure that we reiterate all those important changes to everyone at the same time. The key is to always, that we have found in Louisiana, LEAs and non-public schools collaborating together. It works, and we thank you so much. Any questions?
Thank you, Dr.
All right.
Any further discussion? Any opposition? Denise, I think you're on next, correct?
I think so.
Yes, we're on Archdiocesan School Accreditation. I need a motion to receive the report.
I'll make a motion.
Sarah, Kimberly. Denise, you gave everybody your contact information.
Yes, I sure did. Thank you.
There's also a handout for this. It says 5.2 on top.
Yeah. You have a single sheet that says 5.2.
It looks like this.
And I'm passing around some additional notes that we used in our discussion last night at the superintendent's meeting, so that there's a little bit more information for you to reference. I'm scrolling past someone's me.
Forgot Ken's slide.
Do you need to go back?
Yes. And while Denise is standing here, I want you all to know, she and I finally connected face to face. We've been connecting through our emails, but
For a couple of years.
yes, but we are very excited to be a team.
Yes, very excited.
I forgot Ken's slide. This is just to remind you about the carryover. You have that. But the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act, Emergency Assistance to Non-Public Schools Programs. The LDOE has issued a notice of program closeout for all participants for the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act emergency assistance to non-public schools. If your school participated in the program, your notice of program closeout was uploaded as an attachment to your CRRSA Eames budget application. She's giving an example of what that's going to look like within the application portal. For any questions that you have about this notice of program closeout, or if you're having problems accessing your notice, please do email info@ldoeames.com. I apologize for getting that slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stafford. Thank you. Okay, one of my first charges when I came on board was to follow up on some conversations that Sister Carol had about Lumen accreditation in specific. And we did move forward. We had several conversations, not only with Sister Carol and the Lumen team, but also I had several meetings with our legal department, excuse me, about the request and how we could facilitate having an additional accreditation added that would really be in the spirit of the Catholicism and all of the programs and activities that you really wanted to have represented in your academic schedules. So we went through the bulletin, and the bulletin itself, as I like to call the Cliff Notes, really was not overly specific. And so we really had to go back to the statute, and that's where all of the legal discussions happened. And there's one specific phrase, I have it highlighted here at the very end, about the diocese or archdiocese in which the school is located, referencing the accreditation entities. So that's been in the statute all along, and it had not been requested in the focus of a Lumen accreditation. It had not been requested that that be moved into the bulletin, and so that is the effort that we are undertaking right now. I have some additional notes that I handed out because I know that there will probably be some questions. It is not in addition to the other accreditation agencies, whether it's SACS or if it's Cognia, that's the new name for Advanced Ed, or the National Association of Independent Schools. It's not in addition to those. It will be its own accreditation. The dioceses are able to accredit their schools themselves. So I think it's very clear cut. Our legal department was perfectly fine with everyone moving ahead if we want to do this because it is in the statute very clearly. We're only editing the bulletin, so we are free to move forward. I know Sister Carol has already put some things in motion, and so if the other dioceses would like to do that as well, we can work with you on doing that. So basically the change on the second page I think this is the handout that you had. It shows exactly how the bulletin, excuse me, will read after the changes are finalized. And then on the last page of my handout, this is the list of accreditation organizations. And what we've done until the bulletin has been edited is we've added the bulletin language and the statute language up here. The very top paragraph, RS 174021, that's the phrase from the statute that shows the language as required. So until the bulletin is edited, this page will look like this with both statute and bulletin language on it. Once it's edited, then I will change it to reflect the full bulletin language. The important thing about this as well is in this bottom right square, you'll see the Lumen accreditation is listed with the Catholic University of America, and then any of the dioceses that would be participating can be listed there. So very, very clean cut, ready to go. I think the gentlemen from Lumen are so excited, and I know Sister Carol is very excited. Yes, they're going to be coming in September for our September meeting. So they want to take pictures and do all kinds of great things to get everything started down here. So we were just thrilled to be able to move this along, and if you have any specific questions that may require a legal question or anything like that, I could certainly schedule time with our legal person, and we can get that cleared up for you. Any questions right now? No?
Any further discussion?
Yes, sir.
Denise,
Yeah.
if we're not currently interested in doing that, but possibly in the future, 3 years, 5 years, do we need to do anything now? Or
No.
can we just sit?
No, you do not need to do anything now. This is really, like I know Sister Carol was very anxious to get this rolling up in
Yes.
Shreveport. Yeah, but no, there's no requirement, and you don't ever have to participate if you don't
Yeah.
want to. This is just the deeper explanation of the guidelines in the statute, saying that you have the ability if you would like.
Thank you.
That's all. Any other questions or points of clarity? No? Okay, and we do have all of the links to them. These are everywhere on the website as well, but we have added the Lumen accreditation link via the Catholic Universities of America website. So you'll start seeing that everywhere as well.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I have a few resource slides, so I don't know if you need to do your official.
Go ahead. Is that part of your, is that part of
It's
your?
part of mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Move on.
Okay. Just a reminder, the July Nonpublic webinar is tomorrow. We have a really great presentation tomorrow. I'm super excited. We've started revamping a lot of our presentation materials, a lot of our substance, and so I know members of your team often sit in, so please encourage them tomorrow to do that. Excuse me. We will also be putting out the program calendar with all the important dates for the scholarship programs. We do have a participation guide, a family participation guide, and FAQs that are prepared. So we'll be launching those in August when we do the non-public days. And we're also putting together a procedure manual that outlines all of the technical things. So as far as getting into leads and some of the other things that people have challenges with sometimes. So there'll be a procedure manual with lots of how-tos and screenshots in there for you to be able to assist. I did also want to remind you, we do have office hours. These have been very, very popular. Schools or people from the diocese can go in and book a time for an office hour. It is a private time, so there's not everyone on a big Zoom. And they're welcome to bring their questions, when they register, and that way we can do our due diligence and be prepared to assist once we get onto those office hours. So again, it's been very, very popular, and I encourage everyone to take advantage of that. And because we do have some new people on staff, I just wanted to give you a current roster. I know everybody knows Deidre. And Yashana. Yashana has been here with Deidre working on the scholarship programs. Kelsey Payton is brand new. We just hired her, I guess, right after Memorial Day. She is going to be focusing 100% on home study and everything related with that, which is a lot. Tyjeri McManus is going to be working with me on operations, and she's going to be doing the Brumfield.Bessie approvals, all of those types of things. And so she's actually here today with us. She's sitting right next to Deidre.
Thank you.
And I know several of you know Ms. Gia Johnson. She works on TDC, and so she works very closely with all the STOs on those projects. So we are very, very fortunate to have a full team. We're one of the few around that actually does, so we're very excited. So if you need anything, please always feel free to reach out to us. If we don't have the answer, we will find it for you. And we do also have the 2 help desk boxes, which you're always welcome to send to, both for non-public and for scholarship. Okay, I
Thank you
think that's the
very much.
end of all of my reports
Any
today.
other discussion, opposition? Great, we look forward to working with the team.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, the last item on our agenda is an update regarding the Louisiana legislature, and that must be Ms. Christie. I need a motion to receive the report. Motion. Dr. Houston, second, Sister Jacqueline.
Have some handouts. Good morning.
Morning.
Christie, do you have any more of these packets?
The slide deck?
Because Patty, okay.
I'd be able to hear and ask the question.
Okay.
Do you have any more of the slide decks? I can email it to you.
Yeah.
It's online in Word document.
Okay.
So I have some really great news for y'all today. You know, we've been working on.
Certifications, right?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
So there was a lot of activity this past legislative session regarding certification. I tried to put just what was pertinent to you all here because there's a lot more. But before this, you know, we were working on some of those asterisk certificates and expanding the availability to non-publics. Well, I am very excited to announce that this particular act right here, Act 63 of the legislative session, basically allows for successful evaluations in a variety of settings to be used for the advancement or renewal of a certification. So it can be used for out-of-state experience, in-state non-public experience, those that might be a contracted or what we're calling a third-party educator, somebody that's not employed by a school system, but someone that may be employed by an entity that is contracted to a school system providing services. So basically what it does, it allows Bessie to promulgate rule around this so we can mix evaluation types. So I don't know about y'all, but we're super excited about that in certification. It's gonna make certification so much more simpler for our educators, for the process, for us. Yes, thank you to our legislators across the street for sure. So we do, of course, plan to bring policy for August Bessie. Bessie has to promulgate rule around that. What we've provided to you is some of the provisions, and we can talk through that in just a second after I get through the overview. But we wanted to show you the language. We do plan to bring it in August, and so we're super excited that that has happened. The way that we're going to do it, it will open up the use of certificate types in non-public or public for all those ancillaries that you wanted, for all the educational leaders that you were hoping to have. Essentially what we're trying to do with the policy is have the evaluation be appropriate to the setting. For example, if they're serving in a public school, we're going to be looking for a compass evaluation. If they're serving in a non-public school, we'll be looking for a local personnel evaluation. If they're working as a third-party contractor, we're going to be looking for their employer evaluation. And if they have all three of those, we can use all three of those as long as they're effective to advance or renew. So in my personal opinion, this is huge for certification. It will really make our educators' lives and y'all's much, much simpler. So that's the first act that did a lot for existing educator certification. Act 371 of the legislative session was a bill that started as the Interstate Teacher Mobility Compact, and the purpose behind that was to allow for ease of transition for military families to transition their certificates in and out of states. The actual compact shifted, kind of, I don't know, what would you say, even died, or would have died. And so a substitute bill was presented, and so it's for military families. And what it will do is it will allow a 5-year certification for a military or military spouse for someone that's serving in Louisiana. There's some provisions around that. They already could have gotten an out-of-state certificate. It was a 3-year. This extends that a little bit more. We're going to update our application so that there could be some sort of indicator that it is military, because in the legislation it also included that we needed to determine eligibility 20 days from a complete application. And so we'll have to make some shifts there in our processing so we can identify these military families that are serving our country so that we can expedite those applications. There was another Act 347 that requires some numeracy updates, it's not on your slide. We're gonna have to update teacher certification and preparation, but that's gonna have a future effective date, so we'll bring that for you later. The next one is Act 392, which was a huge bill, huge law. It did a lot for certification. It focused on expanding pathways to certification, I would say, but it also kind of opened up some pathways to transition for existing educators. It did a lot. Some of the things that it does, if you've ever looked at our certification law, it was a hodgepodge. You could see the history, like it was a rolling history of what happened over time and wasn't super organized. And so what this law does is it redesignates the sections and groups it according to the topic rather than, you having to jump from here to there to find a similar topic. It also brought back the conditional acceptance or provisional acceptance into a teacher preparation program, better known as flexible GPA. That was removed the previous session, it put it back in. And so for entrance into a teacher preparation program, there is the flexibility allowed for GPA. We're going to be updating our applications for that as well. This will be also going for August Bessie so that teacher preparation providers can enroll them. We can issue those PLs, those kinds of things. It is also updating some of our literacy requirements. We're bringing some of those to August Bessie as well. It is expanding the TEP, or that temporary employment permit. Last year it expanded it. It was a teacher preparation pathway. If they completed teacher prep and they were within 10% of the exams, they could be put on this temporary certificate. There's some provisions. You have to mentor, you have to be successful, all those things. It expanded it last year to include a graduate degree pathway. If they have a graduate degree in the area in which they're trying to teach, then they could be put on this temporary employment permit. This year, it expanded it even further for secondary areas, shortage areas, to allow a bachelor's degree. If they have a bachelor's degree from an accredited university with a 2.5, I believe is the GPA, I'll have to double check that, from that university in the content area in which they're trying to teach, like if it's chemistry and they're trying to teach chemistry, if it's a secondary shortage area, then they can be put on this TEP. They also have to have successfully passed the content exam associated with that particular area. Since a bachelor's degree is a little bit different than a graduate degree in that area, the legislators felt it necessary to include that content exam as a requirement as well. So it expanded some pathways to certification. It also, which will be pertinent for you all, removed the requirement for issuance of a teaching authorization or a TA. If your individuals are not required to be certified, it was required to have a TA, which was essentially a document that said they cleared a background check so they can be in front of your students. It removed that requirement. That was completely repealed. So we are no longer issuing those.
That's why it was removed from the website?
Yes, that's exactly why it was removed from the website. The law took it out of as a requirement. We're no longer issuing those. If you had any of those applications in queue, then we are sending back some language that said, hey, the law took effect June 14th. We're no longer processing these. And so that's why it was removed from the website, yes. It also changed some of the requirements or the prohibitions of certain offenses that would allow for certification. We are still working with our legal team to update that section of policy. It will likely go later, not in August. But in addition to that, the previous year there was legislation about background checks specifically for certification. It did a couple of things to that piece of legislation. It changed it in the following manner. What it did was it changed the effective date to January 1st of 2025. That will now require for initial certification, educators that don't have certification in any way, shape, or form, beginning on that date, we will also be requesting a criminal background check specifically for certification.
So we do our own fingerprinting with the state police, and we just had an audit done by them. And we were told that we should not be emailing personal information of our teachers to the state for certification, that's not safe or secure. Is there...
Emailing how? Like, you're talking about in our portal? Our portal upload is a secure...
So my staff member told me that he was emailing personal information
Okay,
to some of the staff for certification.
okay,
So everything should be in the portal.
It
No
should
one
be.
should be asking for any
correct,
emails.
correct. The only thing my staff should be asking for email would be like a payment receipt, which would have it would have a confirmation number. It shouldn't have any other personal information. It'd have like application type, who it's for, but my staff should not be asking for any of that personal identifiable information via email.
Okay.
If they are, please let me know. It should all be going through the online portal. Everyone should be submitting that through a submission, which is the protected method, and it shouldn't be something that's emailed.
Thank you.
Great flag. For specifically things like this, we will have an update to our system by the time January 1st gets around here, hopefully. That will allow us to request these criminal background checks specifically for certification. The other piece that it did around criminal background checks is the law is effective now. What it says is that a school system may choose to use the fact that an educator has a credential issued by LDOE that has not been suspended, denied, or revoked as an indicator that they have a clear background check. So it allows you to not necessarily require a background check for anybody that's credentialed through our office. You will still have to do your own background check for those that are not credentialed, but you have the option to use the fact that we have issued a credential that's not, again, been suspended, denied, or revoked as an indicator that they have a clear background check. You still also have the option, if you so choose, as a school system, to run that background check for employment. That was not taken away. You know, there may be some things that you as a Catholic or a diocesan school, there may be some offenses or charges or things that you don't want that person at your school that we wouldn't necessarily take certification away from. So you still have the option to make that request. You're just no longer required to if they are credentialed. That is effective now. That doesn't have a future effective date of January 1st. It also updated the requirement for educators that do have convictions. They do have to report them both to you and to the LDOE within 2 business days. And then, of course, anytime we take action on a certificate, it also indicated that we would notify, to our best ability, what we're aware of as their last employing school system. Now that's going to be based on their last application with us, so depending on when and where that is, it could or could not be accurate, but we'll also do our, have our best effort to notify you as a school system when we take action on a certificate. So that's the big update. Of course, you know how to reach us. You can email at certification@la.gov, ask a question, the feature in the online portal, or you can email me. If you want to take a moment to take a look at the revisions that we've provided in the packet that we passed around, I'll be happy to take any questions. You'll see that what we did is section 103. It's the very beginning of our bulletin. It speaks to basically the mixing of evaluations for both teachers and leaders. So it's applicable to the entire bulletin, which would allow your educators to be able to serve on those ancillary certificates that y'all were asking for. It would allow your leaders at a school system to be able to advance those certificates as well, because it's allowing for evaluation mixing. And then, of course, section 519 basically speaks to those asterisk certificates. So since we're going to be allowed to mix evaluations, we're no longer going to issue those asterisk certificates. Anybody that has an asterisk certificate, they can still have that and maintain it. We're going to work internally for procedure's sake to figure out if they have an asterisk certificate. Some people are funny about, do I want the asterisk, do I not want the asterisk, whatever. That is something that we can figure out procedurally, doesn't have to be determined in policy. So we can maybe have some language on our application that says, the next time they renew, we'll go ahead and issue them a 2 without the asterisk, or a 3, what have you. Any other advancement, we'll just go ahead and issue that standard certificate. And then, of course, in section 525, that is in regard to those teaching authorizations. Basically, we are no longer issuing those, but we will be maintaining those. So, for example, we get wrap-backs from employment if anybody that has a credential with us, including a TA, and if they have some sort of conviction that is prohibited, our legal department has indicated that we'll still be monitoring those and taking action accordingly, just as if it was another certificate. We're just not going to take them away from those individuals, and we're no longer going to issue those. Does anyone have any questions about the language or about the legislative updates here related to certification? This is good stuff. I see that face. I'm excited too.
Real good stuff, yeah.
Very good.
All right, well, thank you all so much.
Thank you for your work, Christine.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any opposition? You know? Wait, what, I thought we were finished.
I think it's in that same item possibly, and
Oh,
just have part B.
Come on. I need a motion to receive?
It's the same.
Oh, the same report, I'm sorry.
I'm part 2. Good morning, my name is Ashley Townsend. I've spoken with y'all once before. I wanted to go over just a few of the acts. We've been monitored, I think, 200 this session, and we're working on implementation of about 40 right now. Some of them, as Christy said, we prioritized to bring to Betsy in August, but some of them that need maybe a little more development, a little more discussion will come at a later date, and we're still working through conversations with those. But I did want to just walk through these 4 with you really quickly. The first is about a financial literacy course that will be a graduation requirement, and you may have seen this. Basically, it's taking some of the concepts that previously were integrated into an existing course, adding a number of other topics to that and making it a standalone course. So this will require students to be able to complete a loan application, understand how credit works, how taxes work, some of those things that are just part of being successful in society after high school. This graduation requirement is going to start with students graduating in 26-27, but the freshman class of 24-25. So it'll start with not this group of freshmen, but the next group of freshmen. Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, but is that a credit or a half credit?
It's a full credit.
Full credit.
Yes, ma'am.
So the 24-25 freshmen.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Absolutely. And this won't come to Bessie quite yet because it's got to go to Board of Regents as well for all that. But I did want to put it up and let y'all talk about it and give us any thoughts that you have.
Many moons ago, when computer applications, computer literacy was required, and in 1 year, they said, no, they really need a credit and a half. So I don't know if y'all remember that, but that was happy chaos. And so we figured out how do we work in this half unit, and it never came to pass, and now computer is not a part of it. And then when we needed 4 years of social studies, that affected Catholic schools because our students, and I'll give you an example of a student, have the 4 credits of math, they need 4 science, 4 social studies, 4 English, they take full 4 years of religion, they need 2 years of foreign language. So when we have a band student who needs 4 years or chooses to take 4 years of band, because we're able to use church history as a social studies course, that student is currently at 25. If that student wants to take 2 more years of a foreign language because he's applying to a school in the Northeast that requires 4 years of a foreign language or just any school, then he's already at 27. If he wants to take and be in the running for valedictorian, let's say, and takes additional AP courses, he's already maxed out at 7 credits over the 4 years. So this is a great idea, but it sounds like it's just 1 credit. But we're going back to that problem the year they said, let's just have them take 4 years of social studies. There are going to be students, very high-end students, like the student in my mind has perfect ACT scores, 3 5s on his AP exams. He would not be able to be the valedictorian in our school because he took was forced to take a financial literacy course. So it will wreak havoc, especially just in 2 years, because those students weren't told that in 7th grade and said you need to get on the advanced track so that you can take some of those credits in 8th grade.
That's a good point. That's a great point. We're going to make an 8th grade. Let's do that.
They said you have to take it in the junior and senior year, right?
Yeah, it has to be in the junior or senior year.
It's the junior, senior year, that's the kicker.
The legislature, even along Director of Governmental Affairs, the legislature wanted to make sure that it was as applicable as possible. So a lot of students in 8th grade don't understand really the impact of what this course is going to teach. Because we had financial literacy before in policy and law, but this expanded that list much more. So the legislature wanted to make sure that it impacted the student as they were getting bank accounts, having jobs, understanding loans, right before they get out into college where they may have to apply for federal student loans. So that's why it's in the junior, senior year, and of course you saw that list expand on a lot of it. We did hear some complaints about the higher achieving students and how it might squish them out because they take APs, if they're in band, all those things. And the legislature passed this bill with no votes in the House and no votes with no votes in the House and the Senate, and I believe it has 100 and something co-authors.
Right.
So it was.
And I get that, but they weren't thinking, oh wait, the Catholic schools require 4 years of religion. If our students didn't have to take religion, they would have ample room for this. So.
That makes sense.
So for a teacher to teach this, is there a certain
Yes,
add-on this teacher
business or math. Business certified or math teacher. It's a huge problem. Years ago too, remember we incorporated free enterprise into civics classes, so even if we were allowed to teach core concepts within, and my understanding was it was passed for public schools, but then TOPS adopted it, so that's where it affects us.
Just talked about it.
TOPS adopted
Yeah,
it, right?
It is, yeah.
So any language.
So it can't count as a history. They won't let it.
No, it's a math or business certified teacher.
It can go under, it can go under or something like that.
Addition, I'm taking notes on what y'all are saying, thank you. So any additional thoughts or things you want us to consider?
Could it be classified as an economics course and qualify as an issue?
So it is, when it comes to TOPS, because it's tied into TOPS, for the Jumpstart pathway, the career students, it's put as a math. For the general TOPS, it's put as an elective. So it would have to be just one of their open electives, similar to like foreign language or art or something like that. And it has to be a standalone course. It cannot be grouped in with anything else.
That's it, so we gotta do it for 26th, 27th year. So how will I be? You're gonna make a mistake, it's gonna be.
And if there is tweaks that need to be made, the legislature, meets every year. And I know Tom is always there with me, so we can always talk about that with the private schools. Because we know for the public school systems, there's enough credit hours to be able to work this. I was not aware of the requirements for non-publics, especially when it comes to church, the religion classes. And so that's definitely something that, might need a little tweaking.
We could get it in earlier, like my high schools are 8th and 12th grade. If we could get it in earlier, I can't have a child not taking theology in any year of their programming with us. That's a major content area for us. So if we could get it in earlier, not in that junior, senior year, it would be more doable. Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. I can't promise they'll move it from junior, senior year, because that's the crux of it.
Maybe for certain.
Maybe for certain types of
Certain
students.
situations. All right, thank you. Anything else on that one?
No, go ahead.
All right. Okay, the next one I had on my list is Act 268. This one is regarding corporal punishment. We're bringing this for the public bulletin in August, but not for the non-public bulletin yet. We wanted to talk with you all first.
We already got it on. It's already in all our policies.
Okay, so y'all are fine with how it's worded and no concerns there? Well, that was easy. Okay. Then the next one I had on the list was Act 318. This one had a number of different pieces in it. We're bringing one piece in August. This is related to information that needs to be on everyone's website about suicide prevention. So If you issue, so approved non-public schools who issue student ID cards have to add on their ID cards information about the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline hotline number and a local number if available. So that piece will go in August right now.
So if our IDs have already been printed and does not contain that information, can we print stickers and have those added to the back of the ID?
That's a great idea.
Yes, it can.
Does it say all grades?
I'm secondary.
Just secondary.
So according to the state, that's grade 9.
That'd be fun. Okay, anything else there? That's the bit, there are a number of other things in there, but I think that's the only thing that I had on my list to talk about. And then the last one on my list is about bus and carpool safety. And so this will apply to non-public schools for which transportation is provided by a city, parish, or local public school board. And this is some measures to put in place to keep students safe in carpool. They need to have a barrier, either a material or immaterial barrier showing where the student should be, walk to and from the car with school personnel, things like that. So that is going into the bulletin right now as well. Any questions
So
about that?
this only applies to us if we are benefiting from transportation services from the public school district.
Correct. All right, any questions about anything else, or is there something that was from this legislative session that you'd like to add to a future agenda? Just let us know.
Any further discussion? The opposition?
Yes.
Well,
Go ahead. Don't do it. Don't do it.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our agenda, unless anyone else has something to bring to the table. Our next meeting is on September the 19th. And Shannon will be sending something out. Hope everybody has a great start to the new school year. It has come, summer has come and gone, and it's time to begin again. Yes,
Can
Renelle?
you give us the rest of the meeting dates?
Yeah.
Email those to us? I'm sure they're in my email somewhere.
Yeah, I'll put it on, and you just open it.
We don't need to do it after that.
Can't find them.
Thanks to all the people of the department for all that you do for us. We greatly appreciate, sometimes I know we are on your side, but we try to be nice. We pray for you often. Meeting adjourned.